Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance, and today we're diving into the fiery depths of the Dominion to talk about Lilith, the Archdemon's first demonic woman, a strength-based mage who grows stronger with every sacrifice she makes. Lilith is one of those rare heroes who doesn't just cast spells, she snowballs. The longer the battle, the bigger and deadlier she becomes. So strap in, because we're about to break down her skills, builds, artifacts, glyphs, talismans, and the best ways to both use her and counter her. Let's start with her ultimate, Underworld Seal. Lilith marks the central enemy, with a demonic seal, which then explodes, damaging the target and anyone nearby. But that's not all. For every enemy hit, and for every allied chaos hero on the field, Lilith permanently increases her maximum and current health. This isn't a temporary buff, it's a snowball that sticks. The more chaos allies she has, and the longer the fight drags, the tankier she becomes. Pair this with setups like Cleaver dragging enemies together with his rusty hook, or Lars grouping them with his Lord of the Storm, and you've got a perfect storm for massive splash damage and a permanent health snowball. Lilith turns long battles into her playground, becoming harder and harder to bring down. Next is Demonic Fury. For 10 seconds, Lilith goes into a frenzy, doubling her basic attacks, and splashing magic damage onto the central enemy and their neighbors. This is brutal for fragile heroes who like to hide behind their tanks, healers, supports, and low health mages all get clipped by the fury. And since her magic attack scales the effect, every sacrifice she makes, every buff she gains, just makes these splashes more lethal. Then we have Fire Breath. Lilith unleashes a cone of fire, damaging enemies and reducing their magic defense for several seconds. The real power here isn't just the damage, it's the setup. Lowering magic defense makes enemies prime targets for devastating follow-up hits. Put her next to Xe'Sha and watch the fireworks. Xe'Sha's deadly ray specifically targets the enemies with the lowest magic defense, which means Lilith lines up the perfect victims for her allies' one-shot rays. Together, the pair can melt entire backlines in an instant. Finally, Sacrifice, her fourth skill, is where her kit truly ties together. Whenever Lilith is above 25% health, she sacrifices 5% of her max health before casting a skill. In exchange, she gains a massive boost to her magic attack for 10 seconds. This doesn't just amplify her own skills, it also synergizes directly with Xe'Sha. Every sacrifice Lilith makes feeds Xe'Sha's Soaring Might passive, giving Xe'Sha permanent stacks of magic attack. And thanks to Xe'Sha's spiritual power, those gains are shared with the whole team. So Lilith's sacrifice isn't just her power-up, it's a team-wide damage boost. This is what we call a true snowball engine. The more she fights, the more her team gains, and the harder it becomes to stop them. Now let's talk about building Lilith. She's a backline mage who thrives on survivability and penetration. For rank items, focus on gear that gives her magic penetration and health. Think Funeral Totem, Talisman, and Tome of Fate in violet, and then Staff of Neutralization, Sphere of Power, and Oppressor's Crown once you reach orange. Orange +3 or +4 is a solid mid-game stopping point, giving her the penetration to punch through defenses and the bulk to survive until her snowball starts. Moving on to skins. Lilith currently has 6 skins: Default, Magic Attack, Armor, Health, Magic Penetration, and an improved health skin with A+ version. Your top priority is the Magic Penetration skin. This lets her cut through defenses and actually make her damage stick. Second, take the Health Plus skin, because more health means more survivability, and thanks to her first and fourth skills, it also indirectly means more magic attack. After that, grab the second health skin for the same reasons. Then the default skin, because raising her main stat also supports her survivability. After that comes the magic attack skin, to further amplify her offensive power. And lastly, the armor skin, still useful when facing physical threats, but lower priority compared to penetration and health. If she ever gets a new skin with magic penetration or health, that immediately becomes her #1 priority. For glyphs, Lilith has 5, health, armor, strength, magic penetration, and magic attack. Start with health, survivability comes first, and her kit rewards stacking health. Next, armor, because she's weak against strong physical hitters, and needs help to endure their blows. Third, strength, her main stat, to further boost survivability. Fourth, magic penetration, to keep her damage relevant against magic tanks. And finally, magic attack. This may sound odd for a mage, but remember, her kit already boosts her attack power through sacrifice, while health and penetration amplify her damage in more efficient ways early. Level each glyph to 40 unless you're chasing class bonuses. Artifacts are where Lilith really shines. Her weapon artifact shares magic penetration with the whole team every time she casts her first skill. That's massive. It not only boosts her own splash damage but supercharges every mage on her side. That's why her weapon is your top priority. Next is her book, which stacks penetration and attack for herself, amplifying her scaling damage. Finally, her ring artifact boosts strength, useful, but not as impactful as the team-wide magic penetration or her own scaling stats. For the gift of the elements, max out health. This keeps her alive, boosts her snowballing mechanics, and lets her stack even more magic attack through sacrifice. Talismans give her even more versatility. Lilith's first is strength and armor, which bolsters her defenses. Her second is health and magic attack, which perfectly complements her snowball playstyle. Both are excellent, and since they're not locked behind VIP, they're accessible and strong. Even without them, Lilith works fine, but with them, she becomes much harder to bring down and much deadlier as a fight drags on. But even Lilith has her weaknesses, and knowing how to counter her is key. Jorgen is one of her hardest counters. His torment of powerlessness blocks energy gain, keeping Lilith from casting her devastating Underworld Seal in the first place. Rufus also walls her damage with his Reikashi's barrier, shrugging off magic. Liane is another answer. Lilith's skills trigger conciliation, charming her and disrupting her combos. And Cleaver can drag her out of the safety of the backline, exposing her to physical assassins who would otherwise never touch her. So Guardians, here's the verdict. Lilith is a unique mage who scales through sacrifice, feeds power into her chaos allies, and becomes tankier and deadlier as the fight stretches on. She's not the easiest hero to master, but when built right and paired with Xe'Sha, she can turn battles into a relentless snowball. If you love playing long fights where your team grows stronger and stronger, Lilith is a demon worth investing in. And that's it for today's breakdown. What about you, Guardians? Have you tested Lilith in your Chaos squads? Do you think her snowball power is worth the investment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing your takes. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss any of our guides. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and as always, salute and friendship.